Joining us on the telephone line, head coach of the Ramblin' Wreck at Georgia Tech, Yellow Jackets leader Paul Johnson joins us here on CBS Sports Radio. Coach Jody McDonald here in New York. How you doing?
I'm doing great. How about you?
Good. Are you ready for some football?
Well, we ready or not, here it comes. I get starting this Saturday, and then it really gets in full gear the next weekend.
Now, when you say starting this Saturday, that's other collegiate football programs. You don't get going till Memorial Day Monday. Is that better or worse that you're actually, I don't want to say behind the curve, but you're one of the later starters?
Well, I think that it's a great opportunity for us to, play a quality opponent in the University of Tennessee on Labor Day night with, we'll have the entire country as an audience. So it's a great way to start the season.
And speaking of starting the season, you finished it quite well last year with a 4-game winning streak, one of the longer winning streaks in college football carrying over into this year. What do you believe? What have you been trying to sell on the momentum that you're bringing into the season because you finished as well as you did last year?
Well, we're just trying to play the best we can play and carry it forward. And we've got a lot of returners. We've lost a couple of guys in camp with the injuries and a couple of things, but we've got a good nucleus coming back. We've got to break in a new quarterback, and excited to have a first game that will get us some national recognition if we can play well.
177 career victories has you ranked fourth in FBS, only behind a couple of very recognizable names, Brian Kelly, Nick Saban, Bill Snyder. How the hell do you get to 177 so quick?
I guess you just coached for a long time. But, I would joke I'd tell all those guys they're a lot older than me. But, no, I think that I've been fortunate. I've had some really good teams and some good players and a lot of good assistant coaches along the way. So it's been a lot of fun.
And success is certainly there. One of your contemporaries, head coach at Florida State this year, said, by the way, ACC, best conference in the country. When you heard that, did you smile? Did you laugh? Did you cringe? What was your first response?
Well, I would tend to agree with him the last couple of years. I think that if you look at the head-to-head records with the other Power 5 conferences, the bowl record, two of the last 4 national champions, by whatever metric that you'd like to measure it against, I think the ACC hasn't taken a back seat to anybody for the last couple of years.
Now, your first game is against Tennessee, as you mentioned, so that's ACC versus SEC, and you're going to be playing in the new stadium down in Atlanta, but you'll only be the second collegiate game played there because Florida State and Alabama are opening up the season in that venue. Do you have a rooting interest in that game?
Well, certainly, we're probably pulling for the Seminoles in that one. I think that any time a team from our conference plays outside the league, we tend to pull for the conference. First and foremost, the teams are playing for their schools and what they represent. But you'd also like to see your conference do well against out-of-conference competition.
Coach Paul Johnson of Georgia Tech, our guest here on CBS Sports Radio. You mentioned you got to get a new quarterback up to speed. Who is your leader in the clubhouse right now to take over to your group QB?
Well, right now we have as many as 4 guys taking reps. It's been kind of wild this off season and fall camp. So we haven't named a starter yet, and may not do so until game week. So it's still kind of up in the air, and we're kind of keeping that in our pocket for now.
Are you holding off on that decision because the competition has been that close, or you want to keep the competition up? Are you at least leaning in a direction?
Well, the competition has been fairly close, but I think we know what we're going to do. But until we get into the next week and the final week before the game, it's still a fluid situation.
What do you believe right now is the strength of your football team?
Well, I think we return a lot of starters on defense, so hopefully we're going to be better on that side of the ball. I think we've got 7 or 8 starters back. This could possibly, if we could stay healthy, I think be one of the best offensive lines we've had. And we returned, all our slot backs and wide receivers. So we've got to replace the running back and a quarterback. And one offensive lineman on offense. So we've got a good group of starters back on offense as well.
Coach, as you mentioned, the ACC has gotten a lot of claim with the head-to-head stuff and the success your conference has had in bowl games. Well, that lends itself to a very tough schedule. Do you do anything differently when you get your schedule? You know who you're going to be playing. Say, all right, we got to prep. We've got to be ready. It is going to be, I think it was the 7th toughest schedule if you go by last season records in the country. How does facing a daunting schedule like this affect your preparation?
Well, our schedule's a little different. We've had to adjust some because not only do we open on Monday night, but then we play that Saturday as well against a very good FCS team that was 10-2 a year ago, and we're going to come off. We're going to have 3 days to get ready for that game, which is really scary. So we've had to do a lot of prep for the second game as well as the first game here in fall camp. But once we get going, you get into a routine in the system, and it kind of is what it is.
Coach, don't know if this is going to have an effect on your program this year or not. We talk here on CBS Sports Radio. College football playing pro football, and their preseason already underway, so they're playing games. And once again, you have individuals taking stances and making statements during the playing of the national anthem, and they vary from team to team and individual to individual. Is that something you've spoken to your team about? Is there a policy that you have at Georgia Tech as to how you want your players to handle the national anthem? Is it an issue for you?
No, it hasn't been an issue for us. We really haven't talked about it. And in college, a lot of times all that happens before you're ever out of the locker room. So it hasn't been a situation, and we really haven't talked about it.
What is your goal before the season starts, other than to run the table and win all the games and become national champion? Do you have other goals that you set before the season starts?
Yeah, well, I let our team set goals every year, and as you would imagine, our goal is to try to win the Coastal Division of the ACC and play in the ACC championship game in Charlotte. And if you're good enough to do that and win, then I think that you'll probably be in the playoffs.
No, you're shooting for a bowl game. Do you think your old squad, Navy's got a chance to be a bowl team too this year?
Yeah, they've done very well, and they got I guess a new quarterback who finished the season for them a year ago, but I expect that they're pretty consistent. I think they'll have a good team as well.
Coach, best of luck for the upcoming season. We appreciate a couple minutes of your time here today. Thank you for joining us. Good luck.
You bet. Take care.